The heat of June in this part of the Sixth Bank, it's screeching. The heat is not the scorching heat of Hanoi concrete. It's the heat that makes you sweat. The heat brings the sweetness. The intensity of tens of thousands of honeysuckle. Ripening air so fragrant that it's suffocating. 22-year-old new guy. Just got off the intercity bus. Take a deep breath. I can see my chest is fresh. I've just got an ineffable hangover. You're carrying a backpack of military hardware that's worn out. His forehead covered in sweat. I'm a senior in agricultural school. Come here for a graduate internship. The topic sounds awesome. Pest research on Luc Ngan. But in fact, please stay here. At a large garden owner. Working as a temporary worker and collecting 10 data. The man who picked up Uncle Six managed the workers. Is a thin, black 40-year-old man. I didn't say much. You're a student, right? Get in the car and wait in the garden. The museum ship motorcycle. Carrying Len through the red dirt roads. On the two sides are the gardens. Red ripe fruit. Hanging like little bells. The cicadas' murmur of peace. With the laughter of the top cloth picker. The car stopped in front of an old red-tiled fourth-floor house. In the middle of the garden. A woman is standing with her back to the gate. Hand held the leaf hat. Fan for the workers weighing the cloth. He is not tall but strong. Uncle Six, call Aunt Russia, the students are back. The woman is back. That moment. I saw my heart beat and beat. The woman in front of you. Russian aunt is definitely over 40. Maybe 4 or 5-year-olds in the countryside are starting to get old. An age that should have worn out. Your mother at home is about this age. But this woman is not old. I have white skin. It's smooth white, not blue white. But what makes it so powerful? You are the bright spring radiating from my aunt. Aunt wears a dark linen suit. Stuff linen summer wear for cool. But the heat and sweat made the suit glued to me. It's a clear illustration of one of these bouncing curves. The fullness of a woman's body. It's at its strongest spring. The skin on the neck on the arm exposed to the fabric. Still plump smooth. Auntie tied her hair high to reveal an elongated neck soaked in sweat. Especially the eyes. It's not the tired eyes of the workman. It's the sparkling eyes. It's like there's a fire inside. His eyes looked at me with a deep appreciation. Hi, it's been a long way. Russian aunt's voice was deep. And there's a kind of characteristic roughness. It's not slick, it's like a trick. Even if it's just a polite greeting. Young man never knew how to hold a girl's hand. Suddenly my face is hot. You keep your head down in your head. Hi, my aunt is Cuong. Auntie, the word auntie, he let go of the word sao, that was awkward. This woman is worth her mother's age. Russian aunt smiling. The smile is not radiant. It's just a slight smudge. But enough to make my dark brown pupils glow. Uncle Six. Give him the hut outside the garden. It's quiet. Let him work. My stuff has been cleared out. Take a break in the afternoon and see what everyone is doing. I told her and she went back to work. Look according to the shape. The way she bent down and lifted the cloth. Every movement is smooth. And exudes a woman's weight. I was 6 in the car. Russian aunt's husband died 3 years ago in an accident. I have been alone in this garden for 3 years. BA years a woman 4-5 years old. I have been widowed for 3 years. Intense involuntary swallowing saliva. The hut is actually a small wooden house. Used to store agricultural tools. It's about 100 meters from the main house right next to the edge of the garden. Inside, there's just a bamboo bed, a wooden table. Simple but clean and the smell of pine. It would be cool to lie here at night. All afternoon, I've been packing around. Young man, everything here is strange. The atmosphere of burning labor. The smell of sweat from the workers. And especially the image of the Russian aunt. It's in your mind. You're ashamed of yourself. How can I peek at a man of what age? My mother's age is like that. It was dark and the workers came back. The large cloth garden suddenly fell silent. There's only the sound of insects rustling. And shower through the speakers with dandruff cool well water. It's cold. Go outside and sit. From here, he saw that Aunt Na's main house was lit up. The yellow light flashed through the window. My aunt just finished bathing. The heart beats a beat. Auntie untied hair. Thick wet black hair. I'm using a towel. Sitting in the dark. Hold your breath and stare at it. He saw the Russian aunt walking around the house. She was wearing a thin ivory white two-string nightgown. Though far away, I can still see my aunt's soft smile. Strength alone. In the big house in the middle of the vast fabric garden. The quiet air of the country night. The silence is eerie. Make the strength feel a vague loneliness. But strangely, picture Russian aunt with wet hair. And the slender figure in the thin tang pajamas. Again appeared clearly one. She was about to enter the hut when Aunt Na came out on the porch. I'm not looking at you. I just stood there. Handheld drinking water bottle. The first moon is not bright enough. But the light from the house shone. Enough for Cuong to see her throat moving smoothly. After drinking, she stood still for a long time. A lazy shoulder extension. Tired. But it shows the whole woman's curve. Is at the peak of maturity. I can see my throat is dry. You feel an emptiness. Out of the shape. There stood a 4 to 5-year-old widow. Between the heat and the sweet smell of fruit. Is fermenting. The boy hurried back to the hut. Shut the door. As if afraid that Russian aunt would find out she was peeping. I couldn't sleep all night. Your own breathing. In the quiet space of the wooden hut. Mixed with the smell of ripe cloth outside. Keep you awake. But you're starting to realize. This internship. Maybe it's not just about pests. It's something else that's both inviting and sinful. It's like the sweet taste of ripe fruit. Too much food will always be drunk. Wake up early the next morning. Determined to focus on work. He went to the garden before the dew cleared. My Russian aunt was there too. I'm directing Uncle Six to do the job. I'm wearing a light blue shirt today. Cassava hands and black pants. She looks like a real boss. I'll give you this area. Russian auntie pointing hands towards the end of the garden. This place is being flattened a lot. You're a graduate student. You've considered it. Give me a solution. They spray too much, and the traders push the price. If you don't spray, the whole batch will be ruined. I seriously replied yes. I'll check it. I prioritize biological measures. Use ladybugs or yellow ants. It may be a bit difficult, but it is safe. Your Russian aunt gave you a deep look. Her eyes squinted in the early sun. You know that too. But farming isn't like books. Just do it and see how it works. I didn't come home to eat the rice I cooked. Take an hour and pack your stuff. All morning he's groping under the canopies. The sun starts up, intense sweat drenched the back of the shirt. Trying to catch a squid and put it in a sample jar. I can hear footsteps rustling behind my back. I'm a Russian aunt. I brought a bottle of green tea. It's so sunny. Take a sip of water and watch you work hard. I'm glad too. Strength put sleeve sweater forehead. She hesitantly accepted the 8 small porcelain Russian aunt poured cho. How much hot green tea to drink? Lanare went there to wake up. Thank you for getting used to it. You look so pretty. I can't stand the sun. Russian aunt standing close to the wall. Under a thick canopy of fabric that covers the sun. Strength suddenly realized. Standing this close you smell a very strange smell. It's not the smell of water. It's the smell of Russian aunt. Smell of sweat, smell of sun, smell of linen and a little something. Very woman, very mature. It's more intense. It's truer than any smell you've ever smelled. It's a little hot, but I can handle it. Try to be calm. But your heart is beating fast. Russian aunt is cool. She showed him a bunch of leaves to see the fruit. Too much cleaning. It's broken like this. Intense as she reached out, the sleeves of the shirt stretched. Inadvertently he glanced down at the collar. Russian aunt does not wear underwear too thick. So Cuong clearly saw the deep groove sucking. And the white skin glowed. The 22-year-old quickly turned away. Hot face filled with guilt. Russian aunt seems to recognize. She let go of her hand, and the shirt came back. I didn't say anything. But I can see that you just laughed. A smile that's just fleeting. Try it, agricultural engineer. Ant said. That hoarse voice, it's like deliberately hitting the word engineer. Then turn your back and walk away. Leaving the strength standing in the middle of the cloth garden. He still holds 8 drinks. And my chest is buzzing with mixed emotions. Embarrassed and waiting. Russian Ant stood buried for a few seconds. His hoarse voice cracked Aunt Russia's 2 words, engineer. Along with that smile that's stuck in your mind. It's both a compliment and a tease. A tease that only a woman has ever experienced. When a 22-year-old boy feels his cheeks burning. He hurried back to the trees pretending to look. But the mind is empty. A long time later, when the rustling footsteps of Russian Ant had gone away, dare to breathe out a long breath. He realized he was holding his breath. On time, I walked into the main house for lunch. As opposed to the roaring air in the garden. Inside Russian Ant's house, it's strangely quiet again. Wide house. Not much furniture but neatly arranged clean. Everything is tidy. But it gives off a cold look. A little empty. Russian Ant has prepared rice on the bamboo hammock. Millet in outer Denmark. Simple country rice. Only a plate of boiled chicken. 8 bitter melon soup stuffed with meat. And a plate of boiled sweet vegetables dotted with fish sauce. What are you doing standing there eating? Russian Ant from the kitchen brought RA 8 dots said exclaimed RA. I changed into my work clothes. Now wearing a thin linen dress. Round neck color Tien Lai. She looks much cooler and more female. Stomach. Stomach. Are you tired of working in the garden? Russian Ant suddenly asked. Intense, startled, almost choking. Are you in a hurry to eat rice? It's just a little hot. Russian Ant nodding. I don't eat much, mostly food. Hot is right. It sells its face to the earth and its back to the sky. I look at you white like this. I was afraid you couldn't stand it. I said, get up and come in a moment. She came out with a new cotton towel. Has been dipped in cool well water. Take it and wipe your sweat. Look at you sweat and eat rice. Your strength is that you dare not accept it. Sorry, I didn't take it. Russian Ant's voice suddenly became stern. But not angry. If you are afraid, you can practice here. I deserve my auntie. Your mother's age, what are you afraid of? What age is worth? His mother's age, Russian Ant said RA casually. But the strength heard the ear tied. He timidly handed Hand a cool towel. As his finger touched his Russian Ant's finger. A fast land numbness feeling. Hands are cool but very soft. He hurriedly withdrew his hand. Uncle, I thank you. Apply the towel to the face. Cool steam and the mild fragrance of soap. From the striped towel straight into the nose. It makes you wake up. But it also carries a very strange smell. Very specific that you guessed was the smell of Russian Ant. Aunt now watched him wipe his face and laughed a lot. You have to eat a lot to work. Young men eat like cats. You only know how to eat red. I ate lunch that day in confusion. Russian Ant on the contrary very natural. I asked Han about his family education in Hanoi. She told me about the cloth garden, about the difficulties of farming. The voice is always loud. Sounds very pleasant. The eyes are time. It's like digging deep into the other person. Strength has a feeling. All my immature thoughts have eyes. 4 or 5 years old red. Just leave it when you finish eating. Take a lunch break and continue working in the afternoon. Don't get too worked up. Hurry up and let me clean it up. It's not about the woman you're interfering with. Go on vacation. Russian Ant shaking her hand. The boss's majesty made the power dare not argue. He sat there for an hour and went back to the cabin. The strength lies on the bamboo bed. I can't sleep. Picture of Russian Ant giving wet towel. The touch, the passing hand. And the smell on the towel. Keep haunting you. You feel bad about yourself. People deserve their mother to treat them well. That I am. Days later, an implicit practice was established. Bright intensity out to the garden for lunch. I went home to eat with my Russian aunt. You get used to my presence. Russian aunt also no longer looks distant from the beginning. Auntie or go to the garden to watch strength work. Ask Han about his biological methods. One afternoon. The power is moving north. To climb up a high branch of cloth. To check the nest of yellow ants. Russian aunt is standing there looking up carefully. That ladder is old, I know. Cuong is trying to reach the branches. Russian aunt suddenly called to stand still. Strong startled stalled. You've got a big worm on your shoulder. Don't move so I can catch him. The strength of hearing that is stiff. You are most afraid of the deep. Russian aunt stepped closer. I don't use my hands, I use a dry, caterpillar branch. But maybe it's because of the strength on the ladder. The location was a bit awkward, so Aunt Na had to lean up. And that's when I can feel something soft. Warm touch my back. That's Russian aunt's boobs. It's just a very light touch through 2 layers of clothing. When she leaned up to the worm. But the 22-year-old new guy. It's like there's a high voltage current running down the spine. Your whole body is numb and your throat is dry. You don't stand still for fear of worms. It's because of that touch. Auntie, it's okay. Russian aunt's voice remained calm. The big worm. Step back and throw the worm away. She breathed and hurried down. Your face is as red as my ripe rag. Thank you, Auntie. There's nothing this deep itches. Getting involved is crazy. Russian aunt looked hard, her wet eyes squinted again. I looked straight at your face. As if I knew exactly how you felt. Are you afraid of worms? I saw your face cut with no blood. Russian aunt laughed. This time it's not a smudge. It's a pure guest laughter. I thought agricultural engineers weren't afraid of worms. Turns out he's just a cowardly boy. I said, putting my hand on the shoulder. Right where the worm was. Wipe the chalk off. It doesn't itch at night. Aunt Na's hands were soft and warm, rubbing gently on Cuong's shoulders. Hard to stand. He smelled her familiar flesh. Passionate in the afternoon sun. Russian aunt, you're going to back off. I looked straight into your eyes. The distance between them is now very close. Close to strength. I could see the faint crow's feet on the tail of her eye. And the little lipstick mole on the left. I'll do it again. Hurry up and take the ladder away. It's almost like running away. Russian aunt stood watching according to the smile on the lips has not died. It rained that night. A torrential summer rainstorm. Crashed into the roof of Cuong's hut. I hear the rumbling of sitting by the wooden table. Trying to record daytime observations. The wind rushed through the door slits, carrying cold steam. You slip worry. This big rain and this big wind. I don't know if I dropped the fruit. Then you think dirty. What do you think of Russia? Now in the big house. Maybe you're listening to the rain alone. He looked towards the main house. The yellow light still sings RA. You see Russian aunt's shadow walking around. Then suddenly the lights went out. The whole garden is in darkness. There's only the sound of torrential rain and thunder. Cuong suddenly lost power. You're worried. Blackout like this Russian aunt is alone in the big house. It would be scary. Even though my aunt is a woman. Hurry up with the flashlight. Put on a thin raincoat and dash out. You run in the rain and it's burning in your face. I just ran and called my Russian aunt. I didn't lose power. I saw you running to the front porch. I saw my Russian aunt standing by the door. Here's my shoulder. Why are you screaming so loud? Lightning like this and running out without fear. His voice seemed to tremble. I'm afraid you're alone. Do you have lights or candles? I didn't get it in the attic. She threw a flashlight into the house. Under the faint light. He saw that Russian aunt was wearing only a thin nightgown. My aunt's hair is falling apart. Maybe she was going to bed when the power went out. Let me get it. Where do you put it? Bother you too. It's on the wooden attic in the kitchen. You go in carefully. Russian ant has not finished speaking. A loud thunder echoed right at the top of the head. With a lightning flashing across the sky, Russian ant yelled out a reflex. Embrace the strength. The whole body is soft. The warmth and shivering of the 45-year-old. Pressed against the chest. Boy knew stiff. The flashlight fell to the ground. Turn off the lights in the dark. There's only the rain screaming outside. I can feel my Russian ant's swollen chest. And her aunt's burning breath fell on her neck. That tight embrace only lasted a few seconds. But I think it's as long as a century. In the thick darkness. In the sound of the rain screaming and the thunder exploding. The 22-year-old's senses were blown up. You can't see anything, but you can feel it. You feel the softness. Tight and hot tightness of Ant's chest. Russia is squeezing her chest. I can smell the smell from your hair. A faint fragrance of your shampoo. Mixed with the smell of women's flesh. Very characteristic. Passionate and enchanted. You're all stiff and you forget to breathe. Your hands are in the air. I don't dare to hold back or push out. Your heart is pounding in your chest. Strong press. It's like breaking your chest and getting out. You feel so cowardly, so guilty. But it's a deep instinct. I don't want this moment to end. The thunder rumbled and died out. Only the sound of torrential rain remained. The sudden silence between the two. It's worse than thunder. Russian auntie seems to wake up. I realized what I was doing. I'm hugging a young man my son's age. She hurried to take a step back. I'm sorry, my uncle. Russian aunt's voice trembled hoarse. Follow me. I'm afraid of thunder. Russian auntie and Diamond are also furry. Her warmth left. Leaving a cold space in front of your chest. You find your cheeks burning. No, hello. I'm looking for a flashlight. Russian aunt. He bent over his crutches on the cool brick floor. Seconds later. His finger touched the plastic case of the lamp. You turn it on. A faint flash of flared RA pointed straight at Russian aunt's face. Under the light of the flashlight, Cuong saw her face flushed. My aunt's sparkling wet eyes right now. Looking down at the ground. I dare not look directly at you. A sticky thin 2-wire nightgown. I was holding someone who was soaking in the rain. Was attached to people. Filling up the curves. That the yellow light flashed in the evening. It can't be clear. Russian aunt hurriedly put her hand on her chest. Pulled back the dress awkwardly. That action. Even if it's unconscious, it's confusing. He hurriedly pointed his flashlight at the ceiling. She said where the candles were. I'll get it in the kitchen loft. The Russian aunt's voice tried to calm down. Follow me. Auntie in front of the lights follow. There's something unnatural about your gait. As if trying to maintain the necessary seriousness. They went into the kitchen. She pointed to the little wooden loft above. You climb up there carefully. The old wooden ladder. The box of candles with the matches I put in the basket on it. The head starts to climb. You try not to think. Just focus on getting the candles. I keep the light. Give me the flashlight. Russian aunt standing below holding a flashlight lit up Cho Cuong. The light comes from below. Splashed on a young face. But he was covered in Cuong's sweat. Go upstairs. The smell of mold and spider webs in the nose. You are searching. Under the Russian aunt looked up. Suddenly she looked at Cuong's wet broad back. The t-shirt is attached to the skin. To reveal the toned shoulders of a teenage boy. I saw your good snake neck. And the ears are red. I don't know if it's hot or confused. 3 years since my husband died. I've never been near a man like this. Maybe this is a new guy. Young bamboo shoots basking in life. That hug, even if it's just fear. But it woke something up. In a woman's body. Over 45 years old in spring. It's an instinct that I've tried to bury. See you? Russian aunt asked hoarse voice. Try to hide your own confusion. It's here. I found the basket hurrying down. As you walk down the last stairs. Due to darkness and slippery ladders, he wobbled carefully. Russian ant reflexively gives handout support. Her soft hand gripped the bicep's strong hand. Auntie again. You feel the softness. And the warmth of her palms. Even if it's just a thin layer of raincoat. You stand still, Russian ant also realized. I quickly let go of my hand, but it was too late for both of us to be silent. The stillness is so stifling. I went to light a candle. To break the silence. He trembled for a match-stroking candle. The fire's shining. Two faces are embarrassed. Russian ant turns off the flashlight. The golden candles glow. It makes the air in the house more quiet. Russian auntie they turn out. She put the candle on the table. The rain outside is still raining. Thank you. I can't sleep without you tonight. Russian auntie sits down naked. Pull the thin blanket over your thigh. You're welcome. Standing at the edge of the door, neither dare to enter nor dare to return. Your raincoat is still small. Water tongue down the brick. Russian ant, you're all wet. Russian ant looks at you. To the hut now feel dead. Or you sleep in this room. I took the cho. It's a very common saying. Of a housewife worried about the worker. But in this context, it has a different meaning. A pounding heart sleeps here. In this house with Russian ant. He looked at his Russian ant under the candles. Her face looked soft and tender. But also full of fatigue and loneliness. The beauty of a 4 to 5-year-old woman. The beauty of ripe fruit. It has a magical appeal. That girl's double 10 strength. I've never met you before. A sinful thought flashed through his mind. But the logic of a good student. You won, you're afraid. You're afraid of yourself. I fear the woman in front of me. Oh my gosh, my dog is also close. I can come back. I'm wearing a raincoat. Russian auntie looks cum shot, a deep look sucked. His eyes were a little like 7. But it's like breathing a sigh of relief. Yeah, it's up to you. Then you go back carefully. Good morning, Aunt. I dare not look more. He turned and threw out the rain. You're running away. You run out of the house. Running away from the yellow candles. And run away from the smell of Russian ant's flesh. He rushed back to the hut and closed the door. He stood with his back to the wooden door, panting. Your heart is still beating. He put his hand on the chest where his Russian ant had hugged him. It seems that the warmth and softness are still lingering. You take off your wet raincoat. You look out the window. The rain began to fall on the main house. Through the rain you still see a small spark. The golden glow of the burning candle. Alone in that house. I'm diamond slumped on the bed. You couldn't sleep all night. The rain, thunder. And especially the hasty embrace. The trembling of a 45-year-old widow. It planted something in the new boy's heart. It's both sweet and scary. It's so messed up that you can't stand it. Cuong wakes up when it's not quite bright. Last night's rain left a humid atmosphere. The sound of a chicken crowing in the distance is cold. You lie on the bamboo bed. Staring at the ceiling. You can't sleep much. All night pictures of Russian ant in a thin nightgown. Trembling in my arms. Go back to the shoes on your mind. You feel so mean. A man is worth his mother's age for many years. Just for a moment of weakness and fear to embrace you. And you feel that high-tailed prowl. You're not ashamed of your Russian ant. But with myself. Today, the police decided to avoid the Russian ant. You can't stand the awkward atmosphere. You're not coming back for lunch. You will go to the farthest garden. The excuse is to collect 10 acres of land there. I ate some cold rice from last night. He opened the hut door. Early fog, fading teeth. Mixed with the smell of moist soil and the smell of ripe cloth. Occasionally. You're not going to the main house. It turns right out another path, goes around the back of the garden. You deliberately walk lightly like a thief. I was afraid my Russian ant would hear footsteps. All morning working like a machine. He bent over and measured the notes. Trying to cram my mind. By the pH numbers of the wax density. Just so there's no room for your image. Russia crept in. But the more you try, the clearer it gets. The feeling of a soft chest. The heat is still on your chest. The Russian ant also woke up early. I also stayed awake all night. 45-year-old woman. It seems to have hardened with every emotion. I feel myself shivering like a new girl. I think I feel ridiculous. They can lose control like that. In front of a kid who's his age. I told myself to keep my distance today. Must be strict. Let me show you that I am the boss. She's a respectable ant. She cooked breakfast but didn't see it coming. I wait until noon. I always prepare 2 pairs of chopsticks. I sat by the rice plate waiting. Waiting forever, waiting forever. Waiting for the rice to cool. The clock's ticking, the pendulum on the wall. Tick. Every beat beats the silence of the house. Russian ant saw her heart down. A sense of emptiness without a name. I realized I wasn't just embarrassed, but is expecting. Looking forward to seeing the face. The boy's flushing confusion. I was hungry outside the garden today. The June afternoon sun. Even though the rain was still scratching his stomach. Cold rice has been out for a long time. You can't take it anymore. All the way back to the hut. At least to drink a well. You deliberately went around. But still have to go through the main porch. His heart pounding, he saw his Russian ant. I don't eat rice. I'm sitting on the porch. Holding an old shirt. Stitching up the broken button. You look lonely to me. To hear the rustling footsteps of Russian ant. 2 eyes touching each other. Both of you are in a hurry to look the other way. Strength, bow, face, rim, red ears. Russian ant also bent over. Pretend to be staring at the line, the needle pointing at you. Stuffy air. So strong it's almost impossible to breathe. Russian ant spoke first. Her voice was dry. No more teasing every day. You're not coming home for dinner. You dare not look straight. I work in the garden far away. I forgot the time. It's an awkward lie that we both know. Russian ant sighed. She put the shirt down. My rice is cooked. It's cold. Come in and eat. The words contain interest. But there's also a little bit of sulking. Mr. Cuong is confused. It's just. Take a sip of water from the hut and eat. Russian ant's voice suddenly became stern. How can you be hungry? Don't let me remind you. Strength does not dare to argue. He washed his hands and walked into the house. Lunch. It's the most stuffy meal I've ever eaten. The rice plate is still hearty. Russian ant has reheated. But neither of them said a word to the AI. There's only 8 chopsticks. The sound of chewing rice. And the fake rain that's left. Dripping from the eaves down to the brickyard. I was in a hurry to eat, just to finish my meal. I've finished eating. Thank you, Auntie. Excuse me. You get up and run like yesterday. Strength. Russian ant called for the first time. I called your name, not you, not the engineer. The strength stalled in amazement. Russian ant does not look up. I'm still staring at my 8 bad meals. Last night I hesitated, forget it. I can see my heart beating a beat. Russian ant looked straight into his eyes. Those glittering eyes. In the daylight, I found it tired. And there's my torment. I'm old for a long time. I'm just a stupid thunder scare. Don't take it for granted that I am yours. Don't think too much. Russian ant said as if comforting herself. But the saying forget it. Instead of giving relief. It's like a knife in your heart. It makes you feel a strange sense of hopelessness. You realize you don't want to forget, you know. He then hurriedly turned his back. Quick step out the door. I know you're out in the garden, but your mind can't forget it. Aunt Russia's words fluttered in her ears. You know I'm scared. That 45-year-old woman. The woman who changed her husband was in the spring. I'm afraid of my own instincts and I'm afraid of you. Russian ant, but this unconsciously. It gives you a strange confidence. You don't see yourself as a scared child anymore. You see yourself as a man. That afternoon it was cloudy again, preparing for another rain. Uncle Cuong is collecting. When he packed his bags, Uncle Six ran over. You are strong, strong. What's wrong, Uncle Six? Your hut is broken. Last night the wind blew off a piece of corrugated iron roof. I just climbed up to see. If it rains again tonight, it's too dilapidated to stay. Cuong stunned the broken. Six, he did not pay attention to the look on his face. Russian Aunt told him to pack everything and bring it to the main house. Aunt said, "You're sleeping in her room. That place is private." I waited a few days and then I went back to the roof. A heart beating a piece of meat. Is a broken roof a real or an excuse to sleep in the main house? What room to sleep in? The final catalyst. Standing as the sky grows. Looking at the main house 100 meters away. Through the canopy. He saw Aunt Russia standing by the window. I'm not looking out at you, I'm looking up at the gray sky. She seems to be waiting too. This time the enemy cannot escape. Because the rain was foretold. And fate or instinct itself. I didn't give you any other way back. 6. The wrong power to carry 3 batches of military equipment. Follow note 6. Your heart beats like a drum. You dare not raise your head. Just plug bend step. But every feeling. Your organs are straining like strings. You can feel Russian Auntie standing at the kitchen door. Follow me, I said nothing. Her silence was more terrifying than an invitation. The room your Russian aunt arranged for you to actually. It's just an old warehouse. About 6 square meters wide. Enough for a single wooden bed. And a small table. It's clean, but it smells musty. The smell of old furniture still lingers. But what makes the power quiet? It's the partition between this room and Aunt Na's room. It's not a brick wall. It's just a thin wooden wall. Panel type of wall people built temporarily to divide the room. Uncle Six is a carefree man. I didn't notice the stuffiness in the air. You're slapping your shoulders. You're here. You're airtight. Russian Aunt in the room where she howled, she heard. If there's a thunder tonight, howl. Uncle Six laughed and walked straight. Leaving strength standing like the sky planted. Slowly Force put the BA batch down. He touched the wooden wall with his hand. It's so thin that you can feel it. If I speak a little louder, people over there can also hear it. You swallow your saliva. You and the 45-year-old widow. That's just one thin layer of wood apart. I didn't dare to go to my room all afternoon. He kept wandering in the garden even though the rain began to fall. You're afraid. You're afraid to face that wall. But then it got dark. You can't hide forever. The dinner takes place in silence. Almost absolutely. The Russian aunt didn't say anything. I brought you food. He thanked me and bowed again. I finished eating in a hurry. Go back to the classroom. You go to bed early. I must have lost sleep yesterday. The Russian aunt's voice was unemotional. But the intensity heard in it something trembling. He walked into the room and closed the door. You dare not turn on the light. You sit on the edge of the bed holding your breath. Russian aunt just came into the room. He heard the slippers slamming against the brick. Russian auntie pulls the chair. Then the sound of undressing rustled. Aunt Tim tightened. You sit motionless. Every sound, even the smallest. It's all amplified clearly. One in the quiet of the night. At home he heard the water his aunt was wiping. Then the creaking of the bed. I went to bed. And the strength trembled and climbed into his bed. His back against the thin wooden wall and he felt. You're only a few inches across the bulkhead. What is Russia? You can imagine what's lying there. In a thin nightgown with loose hair. You smell it. Or do you imagine? A faint fragrance of the flesh of the shampoo. Hidden in the air. It was a night of torture. Strength cannot sleep. Lie in the dark. You can hear the Mexican silence, it's sticky. It's like sweat on their flesh. I heard my Russian aunt driving me. A very slight creaking of Nan's bed. Then you hear a sigh. A deep, exhausting sigh. But also full of a woman's desire. Been lonely for so long. The sound is like an invisible hand. Choking the strong heart. You lie still with your eyes closed. but the whole body is hot. The teenage boy's instincts are up and scratching. You feel guilty. But there's also a crazy expectation. But you just want to press your ear against the wooden wall, to listen for more clarity. The next morning I woke up early. Before the chicken crows to avoid the face. He opened the door to wash his face. But when you walk out into the hallway, the door to Aunt Russia's room opened. Auntie stood there. They stood face to face in the hazy air. The dawn of the morning. Russian Aunt is wearing a thin ivory white nightgown. Maybe she couldn't sleep, so her hair was a little messy. I don't seem surprised. As if I knew you would wake up at this hour. The diamond in confusion. I just realized I was naked. Wearing only a pair of shorts. They're less than a mile apart. Strong hands for a second. No way I said anything. Russian Aunt's eyes flashed through her bare chest. Firmly exposed the vitality of Cuong. His eyes just passed. But enough to make my flesh burn. The eyes unconsciously strengthen. To get sucked into these hidden curves. Behind her thin nightgown. You're up so early. Russian Aunt spoke first. The sound of someone who just woke up. She raised her hand as if stroking her hair. But it's actually to hide the confusion on the face. Go wash your face and come to the garden early. The child did not dare to look straight. He slipped past his aunt and almost ran out into the field. You can hear your Russian Aunt. Take a breath behind me. The stifling air enveloped the house. Life under one roof begins. It's a series of accidental VA touches that are intentional. The kitchen is narrow. Bent down to grab the basket. Your shoulder grazes your Russian Aunt's hips. They both jumped back in a hurry. The common bathroom outside the yard. Step out. People are wet. My Russian Aunt came in with clean clothes. She looked at the water. Flowing from your hair down your chest. Then hurry away. Russian Aunt seems to be trying to re-establish order. You treat her like a mother. She washed the clothes, gave him a strong lunch from the garden. He saw Russian Aunt sitting by the clothes pot. And in my hand was his panties. Stunned people. Your face is red and I'm going to leave you. Russian Aunt looked up. She was not confused. She looked straight into the eyes. His hand still casually crumpled his pants. I know you're a student. I only know what to wash. Your voice is calm. Let me wash the mud like this. She talks like a mother, but her eyes don't. When Russian Aunt gave her white hands. My soft squeeze your pants hard. I can see my throat is dry. Russian Aunt, you see a great shame. But mixed in is a strange sensation of arousal. Feeling taken care of. It is owned by a woman. Russian Aunt knows Cuong is watching. She deliberately slowed down into the sun. I finished my meal and ordered the boss's voice. But his eyes flashed through Cuong's crotch. Where there's an unconscious reaction. Hustle turned his back and ran into the house. You can hear my heart beating violently. This woman, she knows. She knows everything. She's playing with you on that fragile partition there tonight. It's no longer a separation. It's an invitation. The fragile wall has turned the power into something else. You become stealthily snooping. You're not a student anymore. I only know how to work. You start to notice. He noticed what time Russian Aunt took a shower. What time does Russian Aunt go to bed? Strength and strength. With the sensitivity of a guy. The heart is under extreme stimulation. He discovered a secret. Over the wall at about 10 o'clock at night. After all the sounds had died down, Aunt Na hadn't slept yet. Lie still and hold your breath. He heard a very soft hull of the desk drawer. And then a sigh and then a very faint sound. Rustling sound. And Aunt Russia's breathing suddenly became hasty. Heavier than a groan that's suppressed to the extreme. Try not to pop out loud. But the power still hears. 22-year-old new boy. No matter how naive. I also know the 45-year-old widow. What are you doing alone at night? Knowing that only a thin wooden wall. There's a young man lying there. My heart is beating like it wants to explode. Your throat is dry. You feel bad about listening. But you can't stop yourself. Your body is hot. Those taboo sounds. It's more powerful than any image. It burns all boundaries of sin. The age in your head. Russian ant knows. I'm sure I know you're listening to this thin wooden wall. It's not a wall. It's a stage. And I'm deliberately acting for you. The woman is using her own loneliness. My desire to torture you. The next morning I couldn't look at my Russian ant. Russian ant too. They both have dark circles under their eyes. Breakfast takes place in silence. More stifling than ever. Ant that day. Russian ant has to go to the district early. To take care of fabric export papers. I'm going all day today. Take care of your own lunch. I hesitated as if remembering something. The light bulb in my room has been flickering these days. You're a city boy. If you have time to watch for me. This is a heart attack. What's the light in the room? The room I slept in. You can come in. I put my tools in a wooden box under the bed. It's like talking about the weather. Take your hat and drive. What room did you leave the power standing in the middle of the yard? The room you can only imagine. Through the sounds echoing through the wooden walls. The woman's secret room. And she's gone all day. You're in the garden, but you're not thinking. You can't focus on anything. The picture of Aunt Russia's room kept hovering. You feel like a thief. Walk into a forbidden garden. You can't torment. It's my own room. I can't go in there. But she allowed me to fix the light. I can't stand the curiosity near noon. He decided to go to the main house. The house is empty, there are only ticks in the garden. Step to the door of the Russian ant's room. The wooden door just closed slightly unlocked. He gently pushed the door of the safe. A characteristic smell coming straight up your nose. That's the smell of Russian ant. Smell of flesh. The smell of chalk, the smell of dandelion, it all comes together. The room is not large simple furniture. On the wooden bed. Where the strength hears the creaking noise every night. The thin linen blanket is still squeezed and not yet folded. And on the small dressing table, Mr. Cuong approached. He saw the desk drawer open. It's the drawer you hear howl in every night. He curiously gave hand a light pull. It's not what you imagine inside. It's an old notebook wrapped in worn-out linen. And some pictures. Hold up the photo. What is a picture of Russia with a man? I'm sure the dead husband looks very happy. Then he opened the notebook that was Aunt Na's diary. You know you shouldn't read. But your hands can't stop. The lines that shape. It captures the woman's loneliness. The day is about to ripen. I remember you turning around last night dreaming of me. The day he won back. It's so young, it reminds me of you. I'm just as confused as naive. I hugged him with shame last night and day. But the warmth of it is so real. How long has it been since I was hugged by a man? Intense reading hand trembling day and day. I know he heard me on purpose, I wanted him to know. I want him to know how lonely I am. I want it. God, what am I thinking? He deserves his child's age. I dropped the diary. You back VA into the bed. Russian ant knows you know everything. I'm desperate for that woman. Behind the ever-stern look. It's a crazy desire. Auntie Force standing in the room. Breathe my aunt's fragrance. You see your mind spinning. A sense of guilt mixed with a sense of compassion. And a strong desire rises. You want to protect this woman. In a panic, you hear a motorcycle outside the gate. Russian ant's familiar car sound, for heaven's sake. You said go all day. Your heart is as strong as falling on the edge of your frenetic. What to do now? Where did you hide? I went to the garden. You have a house that doesn't stand. You're in my aunt's bedroom. With the diary open on the floor. He hurriedly shoved the diary into a drawer and closed it. But it's late. The room door popped open. Russian aunt standing there. I looked at Steve standing in his room. She looked down at the drawer, the table had been hastily closed. Then she looked up at the light bulb on the ceiling. It's still intact. Russian Ant's face turned from red to pale. What are you doing in my room? Her voice was no longer hoarse. It's cold and shivering. My grandkids are flabbergasted. I told you to fix the light bulb. You know how you fix it. Buy 6 loads of my stuff. Anger mixed with shame. And the fear made Russian Ant lose her temper. You've read it, haven't you? She pointed to the drawer. Hunched face. Your silence is a confession, Auntie. Asshole. Russian Ant shouted not with words but with her eyes. She rushed to use as much as she could, pushing the strength out of the room. Get out. Get out of my house. Lost things teach what can't be said. She stood against the door in tears. 45-year-old woman. The powerful pride is now collapsing completely. The deepest secret of pain. My aunt's most desperate desire. Was exposed to the light by the virgin you're playing with. It's an unbearable insult. The old man fell down the hallway. But banged against the brick floor. You look dazed. Tantrums of Russian Ant. It's like a bucket of cold water coming straight at your face. Quit all thoughts. There's just an emptiness and a vague fear. You hear your Russian Ant. She doesn't curse loudly. I just stood there behind the door and cried. It's not a sobbing cry. It's a hiccup. The sound of a bitter dry hiccup. Trying to suppress it without being able to. The cry of someone who's been carrying it for too long. It has been touched in the weakest place. Bursting out in shame and despair. That cry. It's worse than a curse. It swirls deep into the chest. 22-year-old new boy. There's no fear or desire anymore. You feel good. You just read those words. You understand. You know this woman's loneliness. You understand the burning desire. That she had to hide behind a stern appearance. She stole my aunt's anger. The slap of the bucket is not hate. It's shame. The great shame of a woman in spring. He was caught by a boy his own age. My deepest and most pernicious secret. Get up and don't run away. You can't leave like I said. Your mind tells you to leave immediately. Give back your privacy. But instinct. It's a strong male instinct. It's holding you back. You can't leave. When that woman is crumbling like that. Russian Auntie takes a deep breath. Push the door back into the room. The smell of Russian Ant is still strong. But now with the salty taste of tears. Russian Ant is sitting on the floor next to the edge of the bed. 2 hands holding my shoulder, face trembled. I was in a hurry to wear a shirt. To reveal the white bee's sweaty back. I heard Aunt Na's footsteps rise. Auntie's steamy glitter eyes are now red with water. You see strength. Surprise replaced by a new wave of resentment. What are you doing here? You haven't seen enough. Get out. I told you to get out. She grabbed the pillow on the bed. Throw it straight at the strong man. Strength is not avoided. What do you stand for? He raised a hoarse voice greeting me. I'm sorry, I don't need you. Get out, Russian Ant. The island stood up and came. Used 2 hands to punch the barrel into the chest. Why are you out of shit? Why are you back here? Why did you come back here, but my punches didn't hurt? It's weak, it's desperate. Strength does not retreat. He put his hands on his wrists, and Aunt Russia's hands held him. Calm down. Let me go. Let go. Let go. Russian Auntie writhing. But with the young man's strength. Has tightened the grip. The VA touched the flesh, the urgent breath of 2 people. It's burning the air in the room. Russian Ant is exhausted, she stopped drooling. She stood still and let the strength hold her hand. Then Russian Ant burst into tears. Put his head into Cuong's bare chest. It's that hug again. But this time it wasn't fear of thunder. It's surrender. Mr. Diamond is stunned, his whole body is numb. He felt the shiver of the 45-year-old woman. He could feel her tears burning. Wet my chest. You smell my hair. The smell of one fleshier hand still holds my wrist. The other hand unconsciously timidly. Put on thick black hair. Relax, auntie. I understand. As you can see, it's like a drop of water overflowing a glass. Russian aunt holds up. Tearful eyes looking straight at the wall. You know what I stand for. You understand the suffering of a widowed woman like me. You know what it feels like. It's scratching inside you and you can't do anything. She said it like an insult to herself. She didn't say anything, just looked at me. But your eyes are no longer fear. Of a new boy. It's a man's eye. Full of compassion and full of desire. Russian aunt saw that look. Suddenly they were standing just a gang apart. Hot breath in my aunt's face. Russian aunt's breath rushed with the smell of tears. The silence is so special. Only the heart beats. I can hear my heart. And Aunt Russia's heart. Aunt Russia closed her eyes in confusion and despair. A complete surrender. And that's the signal. You feel as if you are slowly bending over. Your mind is empty. All sins. All the names of my aunts and my age are gone. Only instinct remains. The young boy's lips trembled. Touching my salty lips. The tears of a 45-year-old woman. Russian aunt trembled slightly. She did not push out. She opened her mouth in response to a kiss without sweetness. It hurries awkwardly and desperately. It's the release of two people. Has been pent up for too long. Forced to let go of Russian aunt R.A. My arms around my slender waist. Pull his Russian aunt close to him. The flesh they touch. I can feel your chest full. Pressed against my chest. Soft, warm, hot. Russian aunt also arms. Clinging to the bare back of the wall. Like a drowned man with a stake. Strongly carry Russian aunt up. She's lighter than you thought you were. In front of the bed. He put his aunt down. Russian aunt didn't open her eyes. She lay there breathless, letting her fate tremble. His hand touched the button of his aunt's shirt. He looked at me as a final greeting. Aunt Na opened her eyes softly, her eyes drenched in confusion, and she did not speak. She just nodded a light nod. And that's when reason completely collapses. But the June afternoon sun is still bright outside. The ticks are still rumbling. But inside a small room there's a storm. It's a taboo that's just begun. There is no love. There is no romance. Just a quick breath. A flesh touch. The sound of the bed. And the moaning. Kim compressed so long of the woman-turned husband. It's finally turned on. No more hiding. The last stretch of the bed is over. Return to the room for a special silence. Suffocating. The silence was more terrifying than the screams. That you're next to his Russian aunt panting. Your chest is fluttering. The sweat soaked my back. You dare not move. I dare not look at the woman next to me. You just smell Russian. The room now smells a strange smell. The smell of your sweat, mixed with the smell of Russian aunt's very feminine flesh. The smell of the indulgence of sin. Outside the cicada moaning in scrupulous tide. The sun didn't come through the door. It's a bright light that cuts across the room. Russian aunt lies silently with her back to the wall. A white bee's back trembling in sweat. I don't cry. I just lay there motionless like a statue. She seemed to be trying to hold her breath. Cuong. The guy who had just a minute ago was clumsily shaking. Now I see my whole body falling apart. The feeling of satisfaction passes very quickly. There's only a terrifying emptiness left. What have you done? You shiver, sit up. The rustling of the slide made my Russian aunt jump. But she didn't come back. She hurriedly picked up her shorts on the floor. Hurry up and wear a t-shirt. The feeling of cloth sticking to the flesh is unpleasant. You stand by the bed. Look at Aunt Russia's shaky back. You want to say something? An apology or a word of comfort. You raise your voice hoarse. Russian aunt did not move, but the strength hurt her voice. One voice. dry and crumbling like echoing from the ground. Come out. Russian Ant. That voice has no anger. There's just fatigue, exhaustion, and shame. I'm sorry, I told you to get out. Russian Ant suddenly came back. Puffy red eyes looking straight at you. But that look. There's no more ignorance or desire. It's a cold, agonizing, alien look. She hurriedly pulled the thin linen blanket. Cover up his naked shaky body. Go away, please leave me alone. I can see my heart tightening. He stepped back and walked out of the room. Slightly closed the door. The brick of the hasp echoed behind him. I installed the door. Standing in the middle of the main house. Everything was the same as when Aunt Na came back. The conical hat on the table, the motorcycle was still hot. But everything has changed forever. You walk like a sleepwalker to the well. He stuck his face in the bucket of cool well water. Clear well water. But it can't be washed. The dirty feeling on the flesh. And the smell of Russian Ant. It's still on my fingers. When you look up at your reflection. Under the water. It's still a young face. But in the eyes of innocence is dead. You crossed the line. You slept with a woman your mother's age. What's the widow you call? And forced back into his chamber. The pressure room. He sat down on the bed. And then you hear. Over the thin wooden wall I hear the cry. This time Russian Ant no longer repressed. The cry breaks down. I'm punching myself in the chest. The sound of lotus bags and hiccups. I'm cursing. Are insulting themselves. Oh my God. Why am I doing this, you spoiled woman? You just sit there with your back against the wall. You hear every word, every curse. Fragile wooden wall panels. That used to be the bridge of desire. Turned into a wall of sin. He put his hands up and hugged his head. You want to cry too. You freed Aunt Russia. Or you've just pushed her into a deeper abyss. Russian Ant didn't leave the room all afternoon. The house sank in an eerie silence. The power did not dare to go out. You just sit in your room. The afternoon sun starts to turn off. Dusk falls into darkness, devouring the cloth garden. I knew tonight would be a long night. The secret was born. It's between two rooms. Heavy. And one of them knows what to do with it. Everything has just begun. All night the strength did not sleep. You just sit on the bed with your back against the wooden wall. The sound of sobbing. Self-punching sound. Russian Ant's desperate cursing. Over there the partition extends to near light. It's like 1,000 needles in your chest. You are the cause. You're a sinner. Until it's dark the cry goes out. Instead, it's a dead silence. I heard my Russian Ant wake up. The sound of feet walking on the brick floor. But this time, it's no longer the sound of slippers. It's heavy, tired footsteps. Afraid to face. You crept open the door. Get out of the garden before you leave. But when you walked out onto the porch, you just froze. Russian Ant was standing there. I stand with my back to you. Arm rests on the porch pole. Look out at the fabric garden still drenched with night dew. I don't wear a nightgown. She was wearing a dark old labor suit. Thick black hair. No more high heels. It's tied sloppily to the back of the neck. But it felt like overnight. The 45-year-old woman is in full bloom. 10 years old. The succulent touch of yesterday's brilliant spring has disappeared. There's just a tired, curled, alien figure left. Hear the sound. Russian Ant trembled slightly, but she did not come back. You're buried, you don't know what to say. The thick air was sticky, his aunt said. Hoarse voice. Go to the garden. Russian Ant's voice echoed dry 01 little emotion. It's no longer a teasing voice. It's no longer a wailing sound. It's a strange voice. Cold as well water. Today's work is to finish. Garden end cloth. Uncle Six is going to take the shit out this morning. She orders clearly as a real boss. What happened yesterday is not yesterday. Russian Ant interrupted, her voice suddenly howl. She played back her eyes puffy red. I look strong. The look is no longer desire. It's not anger. It's a disgusting look. It's as if you're looking at your own sins. Auntie, can you hear me? Nothing happened yesterday, she gritted her teeth. You're a student here, intern. I'm the garden owner. That's it. You finish your job and get out of here. 2 words, get out of here, Russian Aunt says. Resilient dumbfounded. Aunt Russia said in a trembling voice. You pack up and go back to the hut tonight. But the shack is broken and my aunt doesn't care. If it breaks, you can fix it yourself. I don't want to see your face in this house anymore. I am disgusted. Russian Aunt slammed the last sentence. Then he rolled into the kitchen and slammed the door shut. Left alone in the middle of the field. In the cold of the morning. You see your heart is empty. All that day. It works like a dead body. You carry every shred of sweat. But not tired. The anguish and especially the disgust of Russian Aunt. It haunts you. You ruined everything. You can't go home at noon. You're sitting under a cloth, drinking water, starving. You didn't come back in the afternoon. Until it's dark and I can't see the road anymore. You came back the wrong way. The main house is dark without lights. Creeping into a Russian Aunt without a home. He breathed a sigh of relief. But I also saw a strange loss. He hurried into the room to clean up his backpack. Just a few clothes. As soon as you pick up your backpack and leave. You hear the noise. Russian Aunt in the room. I've been there all along. I didn't turn on the light and just sat in the dark. I just installed the door now. The sound of dry brick echoed decisively. I'm locking the door. Lock left with you. The diamond stood still. You know it's over. You're carrying a backpack. Towards the tattered hut outside the garden. That night the rain fell again. It was not heavy. Just faking a brain. Lying on the bamboo bed. In a hut where the metal roof has been sped out for a life. The rain dripped down to the cold ground. Cold to the bone. You can't sleep. You look at the main house. Room pressure wall. Tonight across the wall is no longer you. And in Russian Aunt's room. There's no more wailing. There is only silence. It's a scary silence. Heavy as a grave burying a sinful secret. Realize that the suffering has just begun. The cold of the rain. Not as cold as the Russian Aunt's eyes. This morning. The strength is in the hut. The rain is falling. The sound of the rain hitting the banana leaf boat on the porch was heartbreaking. I own. But more than the sound of the pouring rain. It shows that the accelerated roof is still flat. The rain came down from there. It's a swamp in the middle of the ground. The cold wet air carries the musty smell of rotting wood and the smell of soaring soil. Fishy. The cold it's creeping through the fabric. Make the intensity tremble. But the cold outside. With the cold in your heart. You've been here in this shack for 3 days. 3 days since that fateful afternoon. 3 days you live like a ghost. The morning after I was fired. Intense out garden face Uncle Six. Your 6 eyes wide open, why are you sleeping out here? Was it wet last night? They just laugh and lie. I like to be out here. It's quiet. Uncle Six scratched his head. Yesterday I was going to take the stairs and get you the roof. Aunt Russia lied. I said leave it. The fabric folding more, do not need to worry. Just listen, Tim. Keep it tight. Russian Aunt didn't just kick you out. I want you to taste the punishment. I want you to stay in the same place. This tattered. 3 days ago a new order was established. An order of silence and disgust. They can no longer go home to eat. For lunch, he had white rice from the morning. Sitting with the cloth pickers. They're raw, noisy, honest workers. They laugh and tell obscene stories about women. You sit between them. It's like in another world. You just eat and swallow. Sometimes someone nudges you like an engineer. Scolded by the boss. These days the boss is as tough as a ghost. Probably lack of a man. They laughed. I just feel the pain in my throat. You know why I'm doing this. My Russian aunt has changed. 45-year-old woman. Which day in the spring is dead? Now only the Russian boss. She wears baggy dark suits. Thick black hair is tied tightly behind the back of the neck. 01 blur. My face is always cold. She walked around the garden yelling at the workers. His voice as sharp as a knife. There is no longer a hoarse voice. No more glittering wet eyes. Those eyes now look at everything, they're just tired. And the worst thing is that Russian aunt has never looked at her. But for 3 days they're 10 meters apart. But the Russian aunt once glanced at him. If you need anything, I'll call you 6. I told the student to check out the neighborhood over there. Too much cleaning. Student boy. You are no longer a power. You're no longer the engineer with the teasing wink. You're just a student. It's a stranger. Every time I hear those 2 hours, I feel like there's an AI choking my heart. This punishment is more terrifying than a slap. I'm using my own disgust to kill you. Night to the strength lies in the leaky hut. You look at the main house. Dark wall chamber. You remember that thin partition. You remember the sigh, the repressed moan. I miss the smell of Russian. The smell of flesh mixed with the smell of dandelion. And you realize that you're not just grieving for your sins. You've been magically attracted to that woman. And now you feel sorry. He remembered the diary. He understood his aunt's loneliness. You've touched that secret. You were the one who released me. But you're also the one who pushed her into humiliation. Finally. You see, you're not a curious young man. You're a saboteur. Cuong's internship weekend is coming to an end. The report is almost done, the sample has collected 10. There's no reason for you to stay. You have to go. But you know you can't stay quiet. Go away like a thief. You have to at least say goodbye. One last apology. That afternoon the decision was made. He washes over with dandruff cold well water. You wear the cleanest clothes. You go to the main house. Your heart is pounding. It was more exciting than the first day. You come in here. It's getting dark. Russian aunt is sitting on the porch. No, I'm not sitting. I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees in front of the altar. The husband is dead. Mouth murmuring vow. Incense soared up. The shackled back. Russian aunt's solitude and incense smoke. It exudes a most tragic expression. Auntie stood dead outside the yard. He didn't dare move on, as if Aunt Russia was repenting. I finished putting my head together. When I stood up, I saw strength. Auntie stopped for a second. Tired puffy eyes looking at you. It's no longer a disgusting look. It's just an empty look. My voice is hoarse. Step up on the steps. You're a few feet away from me. Take a deep breath and say hello. I finished the report. Russian aunt didn't say anything. I just nodded. Go out and pour me a cup of tea. Maybe the day I came back. Russian aunt's hand holding a cup of tea stopped in the air. It's a very specific silence. Russian aunt. You can hear the sound of the grass in the garden. Russian aunt slowly put down the tea. The sound of VA porcelain cups on the wood. To hear a dry sound. I still don't look strong. She looked out at the dark yard in front of her. Just an hour. When you get home, tell your uncle to take you to the bus station. Her voice is calm. It was as cold as talking to a stranger. Just ask the way. JC saw his throat choking. What are you waiting for? A curse. Another slap or a clinging eye. No, there's nothing. It's just a dead indifference. I'm sorry about everything. At this point, the Russian aunt slowly turned around. Under the bright yellow light, Cuong saw the corner of her eyes wet. I don't cry. I just laughed. A smirk is more bitter than crying. I'm sorry, what's your status? I'm sorry. Your nephew is not to blame. Russian Ed screeched through her teeth, it was me. It's my fault for being broken. Auntie got up and went straight to the room. Before the door slammed shut. I can hear you talking to yourself. Get out of my sight. I don't want to see you all my life. The door is closed. The thunder echoed coldly and decisively. Once again he stood alone in the middle of the house. You will have to carry this secret. And that woman's going to have to live her whole life with it. There is no forgiveness. There's no escape. But that day. Those two words, they're hanging heavy on the air. One last day and one last night in this place. One day he and his Russian aunt did not meet. You deliberately went to the river. Sitting around. Write down the last lines of the report. Russian ants don't go to the garden. I closed the door in the house. It's like an epidemic outside. Russia does not want to be involved. But no one said a word to anyone. Uncle Six and the workers are still buzzing. The fabric is still picked and weighed. Everything goes on. It's like nothing ever happened. There are only two people, an old and young. They are trapped in an invisible cage of sin. The last night he returned to the cabin. It's not raining, but the air is still cold. The moon is hanging. The light was as faint as dew. You're not sleeping. You sit on the bamboo bed. Pack up your backpack. Some of the clothes were worn out, the smell of earth, the smell of sweat. He wrote down some jars of pest samples in his notebook. That's all there is to it. You came here with a backpack. You go with a backpack. No, but you know what you brought back. It's much heavier. He sat there in the dark and looked at the house. It's a silent, solid black mass. This is Aunt Russia's room. You are unconscious. He touched the thin wooden wall of the next room. No, you're outside. You are far away. But I still feel like I can hear you. You hear a sigh. When you hear the cry. He heard Russian Aunt punching herself in the chest. You close your eyes. The sounds and smells of that afternoon. It's about the way you let go. The way the 45-year-old woman's body trembled. In response to your awkward kiss. The smell of flesh. The moaning was freed from the dry throat. Your body is hot. But you find yourself so mean. Even now. In the ultimate torment. There's a part of you that's still hungry. That feeling. You've ruined a person's life. You've laid bare my aunt's most painful secret. Then take advantage of it. You're not a man. You're an asshole. You just sit there motionless. Until the sun rises. Ran chicken crow. You have to go. You lied to your Russian aunt. You didn't come back the other day. You come back today. You can't take another second. I can't ask you six. You don't want anyone to see you. You will walk away like a thief. You carry your backpack on your shoulder. The last time. He looked around the tattered hut. Where we've seen the trembling. Your fear and your loneliness. You step outside. The cold morning dew wiped the garden of cloth with white teeth. You walk softly, the red dirt trail is still moist. You have to go through the house for the last time. Your heart is pounding, you're afraid. You're afraid the door will open. You're afraid you'll see Aunt Russia's disgust in your eyes. One more time. He crept, but as he walked across the yard he froze. Russian Aunt is up. I didn't stand on the porch, I didn't kneel in front of the altar. I'm out in the yard with my back to you. I'm sweeping the yard. The lonely hunched back figure. It's still a dark labor suit. The broom cover rustling charger on the brick background. A steady lifeless sound. It's like you're trying to scan. Sweep away something dirty. Sweep your footprints. Sweep away the dirty secret that's happened in this place. You're standing there with your feet, what do you want to call? You want to say one last sorry. I mean, you didn't mean to. But you can't. Your throat is strangled by that AI. And at that moment the broom stopped. Russian ant heard. I know you were standing behind me. She is still motionless. Her thin back trembled slightly. But she didn't turn around. I didn't say a word. I just stood there for a second. Then she kept scanning. Stir fry fry charge, the bamboo broom echoed steadily. Cold ant shows with ant you no longer exist. Cuong sees his eyes burning. You get it. There's no goodbye. There's no forgiveness. The silence and the way your back is turned to you. That's the final answer. He squeezed his backpack, he turned and he walked away. He walked quickly to the red road without turning back. The heat of June began to melt. The smell of ripe cloth is still sweet and pungent. But the strength no longer finds it fragrant. You see it. It smells of guilt. It's the smell of Russian ant's flesh. It's the smell of a musty secret chamber. You step out to the waving road. A passing coach. He stepped on the 6,000-yard wagon of a fourth-grade house. And the lonely hunchback sweeping the yard. Get back behind. Fade and disappear. The graduation internship is over. The boy has become a man. But I know the sweet taste. The enchanting fragrance of that 9-year harvest. It will never leave. It will haunt you. Keep you up for the rest of your life.